Sentient Pest is the third major boss of Elden Ring Nightreign, and it's no pushover. Evening the playing field just a bit, Sentient Pest is actually two bosses, meaning your advantage in numbers is no longer the strength you thought it was. Just like with Gladius, you'll have to balance your attention between multiple aggressive fronts. Thankfully though, Sentient Pest becomes an easy fight once you know its weakness and how to use its own size and number against it. With proper preparation and RNG, collecting some of the specific equipment that we recommend will lead you on the best path towards squashing this bug for good. Without further ado, here's our guide for the Sentient Pest boss in Elden Ring Nightreign. First, let's go over some stats and weaknesses for how to prepare for this fight. Sentient Pest, or Noster, is weak to fire. Note that Noster has two resistances, so any weapons with poison or magic affinities will do significantly less damage. Last, Noster is immune to madness and sleep, so try to avoid any of those builds if possible. Since Noster is technically two different bosses, the damage dealt depends on which boss is dealing it. The Scorpion will only deal standard physical damage, while the Moth can both deal poison or magic damage. While there is only one health bar, either the Scorpion or the Moth can be struck as they share the same pool. Because of the poison damage from the Moth, we recommend bringing in some neutralizing boluses into this fight, or at the very least, consuming them so that you have a resistance to poison buildup. When getting ready for the Sentient Pest fight, your greatest priority should be to collect fire affinity weapons, as it's the pest's only weakness. Likewise, abilities and effects that do any of the following are incredibly important for this fight, such as resistance to poison, magic, and physical damage, increased fire affinity damage, and increased immunity. Some of the best fire you can use against the Sentient Pest are typically lingering magma incantations. These can deal tremendous damage over time. It also helps if you stock up on fire grease and fire pots during your hunt before entering the arena. They can deal significant clutch damage and give you a great edge in this fight. As for recommended characters, the best characters for Sentient Pest are typically those with great survivability, either through great defense or high evasion. For that reason, these characters stand out above the rest: Raider, Duchess, and Guardian. There is, however, an honorable mention for Wilder and his ability to close the gap with the Sentient Pest in this absolutely massive arena. Plus, equipping relics that both imbue Wilder's greatsword with fire and his ultimate art that leaves fire on the ground can do tremendous damage to the Sentient Pest. As for Raider, his ultimate art provides a way to avoid the Scorpion's attacks for a needed respite in the air or for blocking the Moth's attacks when you're on the ground. Duchess can easily evade most of the Sentient Pest attacks, especially the incredibly deadly charging attack in Stage 2. While her damage and range can suffer in this fight, she'll be able to double the rest of the party's damage with her skill and easily save down teammates with her quick attacks and special art. Finally, Guardian can tank most of the Sentient Pest's blows. He is excellent at swallowing up the Pest's attention while other teammates attack from the rear, though he can suffer from the magic attacks and low speed. His ultimate art can poise break and stagger the Scorpion for needed respite for other members. The greatest obstacle to defeating the Sentient Pest is keeping up consistent pressure. Because of the many zoning challenges that the Pest makes with its move pool designed to punish aggression, this fight can drag on dangerously long. Therefore, you have to make the best out of the few openings you have and play mercilessly. Let's go over a few of the Sentient Pest moves and combos. First, the Scorpion. Ground Break Forward is a move where the Scorpion will slam its body onto the ground, with spikes erupting forward on the ground. Likewise, Ground Break Side will see Noster slamming on the ground, with spikes erupting from the ground in a wave out to the side. In Lunge, Noster will pull back his head and raise his mandibles as he walks toward his target. He lunges forward with a pincer attack, and he can do this up to 3 times in a row. Next, in Roar, Noster will shake his body, raising his head out into the air and letting out a roar that does several rapid waves of damage. In Dig, the Scorpion lowers his head and digs underground. After several seconds, a rumble can be heard as he begins to burrow toward the player that has his aggression. It'll track the player that emerges just as it nears. Next, in Lunging Jump, Noster will brace himself and then jump forward toward his target. He can repeat this up to 2 times and end in a comboed lunge. Last, in Harden, Noster will curl and harden his shell. While in this shell, he is near impenetrable and cannot take damage. It's best to shift attention over to the moth at this point. And speaking of the moth, here are a few of the moth's moves to keep an eye out for. In Star Shower, the moth will light up the skybox with several star-like lights. After those stars begin to rain down in a fan pattern that spreads out in a wave. Either sprint forward or dodge forward into the circle of the stars to avoid these. In Poison Mist, sparkling lights are fanned from the moth's wings. After the lights settle, they turn into mists of poison. Sprint away from them if you can to a safe location. Next is Star Barrage. Lights will gather in 6 points around the moth's wings. It then unleashes them onto a single target. The balls of magic energy are slightly uneven in their timing, so sprint to one side and sidestep at the last moment for each wave to avoid these. And last is the Poison Grab. The moth chimes and comes low to the ground. It'll then flash purple and lunges forward toward a character. If grabbed, the player is dealt massive damage and is often killed, and infested with a poison that lasts the match. Sprint away and dodge in any direction before the moth grabs you. Next, here are a couple of phase 2 attacks to keep in mind. First is Transition Roar, where the scorpion will let out a large area of roar. With Moth Poison, the moth will intermittently spread poison waves, typically in a circle around the scorpion, but sometimes the head. Either avoid it by running away or dodging forward through the ring, as the circular mist will slowly roll out and away from the scorpion. The Star Shower returns, but this time it'll attack faster and whenever the scorpion performs a forward lunge. Next is a Charging Barrage, where a single player is targeted with a red circle. A light will form above the moth's head before the scorpion begins to charge. It'll fire 3 waves of star barrages and turn around once it has passed the player. It repeats this 3 times, switching targets if its first target has died. When it comes to a rest, it'll unleash a small and quick wave of Star Rain. And last is Light from Above. As a light begins to shimmer on the ground, it'll follow the player, showing itself 3 times before it rains down on the 4th. Once it begins to rain down, it'll deal tremendous pulsing magic damage in an area. There are 3 big takeaways from this guide that are key to your success against the Sentient Pest. You have to learn how to deal with the Charging Barrage. For this, you'll want to stand put and sidestep with each of the barrage's waves. Sidestep twice in quick succession as the scorpion reaches you and is about to run you over. Continue this until it finishes and then dodge a final time for the Star Rain before you attack. Next, you'll want to bring some fire damage, especially to the moth. This will deal significant damage and make this fight go a lot quicker than it needs to go. You'll want to remain as close as possible as you can, only backing up when absolutely necessary to either heal or avoid any AoEs. If you can accomplish these 3 things, you're well on your way to defeating this monstrosity. Defeating the Sentient Pest will reward you with a relic, Knight of the Wise. It'll increase maximum FP, poison and rot increases attack power, and starting weapons inflict poison. Good luck on this expedition.